Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. I'm an SEO, developer, affiliate marketer and entrepreneur. I've been building and monetising websites for over 20 years and I've bought and sold a few along the way. I'm here to share with you the SEO knowledge, hints and tips I've built up over the years. Hello and welcome to this episode of SEO is Not That Hard. Today I'm going to cover my quick SEO tips, number 1 to number 10, from my 101 SEO tip series. There's details later in the show on how you can get all 101 in one go, but let's get on with it. Okay, let's start with tip number 1. And this is make your website as fast as possible, because Google hates sites that load slowly, and so do your users. So think about it yourself. You don't want to be using a website that's slow, takes a long time to load pages. Google knows that people hate that, and it doesn't like promoting websites that are slow. So always make your website as fast as possible. Okay. Tip number 2. Google can't find a page, it can't index it. So make sure new pages are linked to from existing pages. You need to make it easy for Google and your site visitors to find pages. So every new page you add must be linked from the most obviously related page. Google will thank you and your visitors will thank you. So always remember, always make sure every page that you create is linked to. If you create a page and don't link to it, then Google's not going to find it and people aren't going to find it. So you've just wasted your time. So obviously always think carefully about where you're going to link to a page from. Make sure it's relevant. There might be more than one place to link to it from. Make sure it goes in the right place in your navigation. And also if you've got other relevant pages where you could reference this new page, then link to it from there as well. That internal linking is really important. Tip number 3, Google loves secure sites. So always have your site running on HTTPS. Now, you'll see nowadays pretty much every single site, and you wouldn't want to share your personal information with a site that wasn't encrypted. So why should you expect anyone else to use your site if it wasn't secure? So do yourself a favor, make sure your site is running on HTTPS. Your visitors and Google will appreciate it. Many hosts will sort this out for you, but just be sure that it is on HTTPS. Otherwise, it's one of those issues where Google isn't going to favor it, and you're going to get warnings in people's browsers when they try and come to your site. It's just not good for you at all. So just make sure that's one of the things that you always sort out from scratch. Tip number 4. Despite what some people say, backlinks from other websites help you rank better. Now, this is because Google sees them like votes for your content. So the more links from legitimate third-party websites, the better. But a word of warning here, Google doesn't like people buying backlinks. If it thinks you're doing this, it may penalise your website, so don't get tempted by people offering easy links in return for payment. There are genuine link building programs, there are genuine link building methods that are white hat and aren't going to get you in trouble, but this is just a word of caution when you first look in. Be careful if you do go looking to buy links on what kind of methods they're using and whether it is white hat and fits within Google's profiles, Google's terms of service, or whether it goes against them. Tip number 5, another backlink one. Backlinks coming from external sites and pages that are more relevant to your website's topic are better than from completely unrelated sites. Relevancy doesn't mean a website has to be exactly the same topic as yours, just that they're linking to you from a page that's relevant to their topic and also relevant to you. So an example might be you might have a campsites website having a page about local places for their visitors to eat at and linking to local restaurants and cafes. So there's a relevance there because it's relevant to their audience, it's relevant to the area, and they're giving you that link. So they're good relevant links. Links from completely unrelated sites on pages which are completely unrelated to your topic, i.e. if you were just inserting links into a page just to try and get page rank from that page by the link being there, isn't going to perform as well as a link from a site that's on the same topic and a page that's the same topic as you are. Tip number 6, H1s are important. Every page should have one. Put the main keywords you want to rank a page for in the page's H1. So on a web page, the H1 is the main heading of the page content. So in a CMS like WordPress, it'll be the page or post heading. Most web page editors might also call it the heading 1. So H1 is a HTML tag that helps Google work out what the subject of your page is, as well as being helpful for your site visitors and accessibility for those using screen readers. Now, changing a H1 can have a big difference. We recently had one on Keywords People Use where the H1 for one of our pages, it was the page that targets Google autocomplete. We we'd put it as keyword autocomplete for some reason. And we were ranking around about position 30 for the term Google autocomplete tool. We changed the H1 to Google autocomplete tool. 2-3 weeks later, we were ranking almost on page 1, and that ranking is still to climb because we just sorted out that H1. We would not put a good H1 in to start with, and it causes issues. So always make sure you've got a good H1 for your page that's relevant to the topic of your page and what you're trying to rank for. Tip 7, page titles are important. It should be descriptive of the page content and include the keywords you want the page to rank for. Google uses the page title as one of the most important features to work out what the subject of your page is. Your page title is also what Google will often use to display in the search results when it lists your page. Though sometimes it will create its own title, which can be annoying, but it's best to put in what you prefer your potential site visitors to see, because some of the time Google will use that. This is very similar to tip 6 about H1s. You're going to have very similar H1s and page titles, because these are the big signifier to Google about what your page subject is about, and also to your readers. And again, with the page title, because it is often used by Google in the search results, it's a good place to make sure you get a good title that's going to be attractive for people to click on. Tip 8, internal links. Links from pages within your site to each other. They help provide context to Google about what your pages are about. So use them to help boost the rankings of your pages for your target keywords. You want to use anchor text that describes the content of the page you're linking to. This anchor text provides an additional signal to Google as to what the page is about and what keywords it should be ranking for. And in addition, good internal links help your site visitors discover more of your content. So this is, I always say to people, look at Wikipedia for how they do internal linking, because it's actually really good practice. They link well between different pages. They will link well on terms. If there's something that you might not understand in a page and it's referenced elsewhere where there's good explanation, they link to it. It's just really good to link your pages together well. It's a very important ranking signal. And it's also very important for your users to be able to find their way around the site. So don't neglect them, basically. Too many people don't put enough internal links on their web pages. Tip 9. People who go to Google are looking to answer a question. To build a successful website, you need to aim to answer people's questions. You need to build your content strategy around discovering and answering the questions your audience has. You'll create great content that actually helps people and will naturally cover a huge variety of keywords across your topical area. And a great place to find actual questions real people are asking online for any topic are our tools that keywords people use. It's all set up completely around this philosophy of answering questions and building your content around the questions people ask and whereabout. Keywords people use is all about finding those questions people are asking online, so you can make sure to cover your topic based on real users' questions. So that's a really important tip. Tip number 10, last tip for today. SEO changes a lot over time. Always check that advice is still relevant. Now, over the years, Google and other search engines have made several changes as to what they deem important for web ranking. They regularly implement entirely ranking systems and algorithms, and that can change what is and isn't important for ranking over time. Therefore, you need to be really careful when looking at any SEO advice. Look at how many sources are confirming any advice you're receiving and how old any published advice is. Reading an SEO guide that's not been updated for several years might lead you to following outdated advice. So it's really key to stay on top of the changes in the industry, changes that Google make, and just stay on top of the advice and just make sure that anything you're listening to is fresh, because some people are still regurgitating old tips from years ago that no longer work, things that have been deprecated, but because it becomes received wisdom, then people don't go back and check that these things still work. So that's why it's really important to always stay on top of the latest advice. So that's it for today. I hope these tips are useful. If you want to get these tips and many others, if you go to the show notes, there's a link there and you can download a PDF that's got all these tips there all ready to go. But we'll also be putting more out over time on the podcast as we go. Before I go, I just wanted to let you know that if you'd like a personal demo of our tools that keywords people use, that you can book a free, no obligation, one-on-one video call with me, where I'll show you how we can help you level up your content by finding and answering the questions your audience actually have. You can also ask me any SEO questions you have. You just need to go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo where you can pick a time and date that suits you for us to catch up. Once again, that's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo, and you can also find that link in the show notes of today's episode. Hope to chat with you soon. Thanks for being a listener. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share. It really helps. SEO is not that hard. It's brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. To get an instant hit of more SEO tips, then find the link to download a free copy of my 101 quick SEO tips in the show notes of today's episode. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel5 on Twitter. You can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.